Problems yesterday. I had this tripod sitting here ready to go. I forgot I was using Dragon Link. I had the telemetry antenna system here ready to go and remembered I didn't need to take telemetry radios because of the Dragon Link, so I didn't take that, but I would have had to put this in the car in addition, maybe a couple of more tripods if I did the multi-camera thing. This antenna station has 5.8 on it and a DVR. It wouldn't have had to go yesterday as much as if I was flying the Skyhunter. That's where the video receivers are for the Skyhunter, so that's going to have to go when the Skyhunter goes. Although the old telemetry tree, if we call it that, does have a 1.2 video receiver on it. This was a problem. I got to the field and started to put this video receiver together, and I started screwing on this antenna, and the threads just won't match. And I'm just in my brain at the field, I'm going, wow, I didn't test any of this at home. I didn't do a dry run through or anything. These threads are just not right. And then I looked, and they're both male. And of course, I looked at this at the house when I got back. The little one I use on the computer here has a gender changer right there to convert that male to a female on both ends, and it screws on here. Because I didn't do a dry walkthrough at the house, that was a problem at the field. Do you think I've got enough gender changers, both straight through and right angles and stuff, to have fixed that video transmitter before I left the house if I had done a mock packing up of the car? This is the one I needed. This has got a, whoops, no, that's not the one. I just took one out of here, and it was what I needed. I'm sure there's another one in there someplace, which is female on the top and female on the bottom. Anyway, I did pull one out of there, screwed it right down there, and screwed the antenna down to it, and there's a properly polarized antenna, although there's a linear on one side, because it is a diversity receiver. There's the proper right-hand circular polarized antenna on the thing now, so that it can properly receive video. So again, had I done a mock run, mock up, whatever you want to call it, dry run, setting all this stuff up at the house, this wouldn't have been a problem at the field that it was. And that's where I have to get to. That's much more professional than what went on yesterday. My shop chief might have knocked me down quarterly marks for doing what I did yesterday. I should have scrubbed the launch as soon as multiple problems popped up, just because it would undermine my confidence and ability to fly, especially for the first time. But I didn't, because I wanted to fly so badly. But I should have been more professional and just scrubbed it, taken care of these problems, and gone back and done it properly, which I will do, I hope. Well, come on. I proved I can actually do it the way I did it yesterday. But again, that's not the way I want to do it. Should there be a problem, the FAA would look at all my preparation and go, son, you didn't do the best you could there. So I do have to go back and do the best I can. Again, for the times when there's problems. So after the crash and the house burns down, the FAA will go, well, he was very thorough with his preparation and stuff, so we'll just fine him $1,000 instead of $10,000. You saw I charged this GoPro and this GoPro camera I did take this with me, but because I didn't have a checklist, I never put it on or turned it on. That would have been nice videos from behind the platform as it took off out of my hand, but no checklist. Didn't remember it. Like I say, I even had this with me. I never checked the video transmitter on the wing right here. The button for changing power and stuff is right here. And if I remember right, I set up smart audio in the Mini Talon, but again, no checklist. None of that was touched. I bet this was on 25 milliwatts, but with an antenna mismatch of the circular polarized and the linear antenna. There was problems in that anyway. We'll hopefully see that soon, working better than it did yesterday. And there's the Mini Talon sitting on top of the Skyhunter to show the size difference. The servo will be here for the Skyhunter tomorrow, so that should be finished before Monday and ready to maiden. But, well, I can take the Skyhunter apart into 4 pieces: the fuselage, the tail with the 2 booms, and then the 2 wings halves come apart to get it in the car. But I do have an extremely bad problem transporting all this stuff in the little Kia or the cab of the Ranger pickup truck. I'm going to have to get a camper cover for the truck is my only solution. Again, I may be able to rent a U-Haul van for $20 a day for some of this, but overall, I just have a transportation problem I need to solve badly. Maybe a pull-behind trailer, I don't know. I left this here yesterday, which the problem with that is the lanyard for the radio I didn't have. So I had the extra problem of trying to actually hold the radio in a hand while trying to work the controls on it, which wasn't very much fun. The major problem with that was also not having a checklist for packing up here at the house and not having a checklist at the field, so the lanyard wasn't remembered. One of the biggest problems there is you can't really see it here. I have a connector in right here, and it goes into the bay. It's an extra wire that you put in the Dragon Link for the Yapu telemetry, which I haven't done a video on yet. I actually haven't got it working perfectly yet. And taking this apart to put in the case, which would have sort of helped me remember that lanyard, it is just not something I want to do right now. So I wanted this in one piece, so I just set it in the floorboard of the car, and that's a problem for me too. I was just too much interested yesterday in throwing the airplane in the air.
This is what I saw when I looked at the UAV forecast app at the house. You notice the second line down for the winds, 3 miles per hour winds, 13 gusts, and the wind coming out of the southeast was going to be perfect at the field to keep me away from those power lines. As you can see here, when I got to the field and looked at the forecast at the field, although it was still about the same 4 miles per hour, 14 mile per hour gusts, the wind had already switched around to coming out of the south. By the time I had set up there and got ready to launch, it had moved all the way around to coming out of the west, which made me have to launch straight towards those high voltage power lines, which I don't want to get anywhere near. I don't fear them for interference. I fear them because I don't know if you watched my little survey of them with the Mavic Mini for height a couple of weeks back. There's a lot of things that are not connected. There's multiple connections on those lines to hold them on those towers. Several of them, one of them is broken, and it's only being held by one. So I don't want to touch them, any shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah, it was a hard landing. Look at this. This thing took it. You can't even see on the front. I think the front got over the place where the sod had been removed for selling. But the back skid, I think, got down in the dirt. But for the way it came in, that's not bad at all. It's not even green grass stained. I would like to have better landings, but I'll take that one.
So there's some of the problems I found yesterday. Most of them caused by the fact I didn't do a dry run of loading up the car and creating a load up checklist like I did with the flame wheels and my verticals all along. I didn't have a checklist at the field. So not doing the dry runs and not doing the checklists caused a lot of problems. Then I've got the secondary problem that I just really can't get all of this stuff in the car. And it's not the computer and all that stuff so much, because that tub I use as a sunblock really had nothing in it yesterday. There's a lot of stuff can go in that easily, and that can even go in the bed of the Ranger truck. It's just getting the tripods and that kind of stuff can go in the bed of the Ranger truck, even if it's not covered. But the platforms themselves, I've got a problem. I didn't take the Bixler. I did have it ready, but I didn't take it because I just couldn't find a way to get it in the Kia at all, much less with the Mini Talon. It's just the wingspan on it was just too big. You see, the Mini Talon barely fit in there. Again, I can remove both wing halves from the Mini Talon, and I can do that with the Skyhunter, but it's not going to fit in there very well. So I do have to find a solution to that problem, which won't be quick. But I was rather anxious at the field because of the wind change when I got there and the fact that I was going to have to launch towards those high voltage towers. I was pretty upset that there were no dry runs, no checklists, but I tried to keep that out of my mind so I could get through what I did. As I went through setting up at the car, of course, you can imagine me not having the proper antenna on the video receiver, although I wasn't using FPV goggles on that flight or a FPV monitor. I hope I can use the computer where I recorded the video receiver yesterday to look at without goggles on to fly with. I'll be working up some of that stuff. Then the lanyard not being there to let the radio hang around my neck where I can not have to hold on to it so firmly was a problem. Pam didn't realize she was supposed to be taking videos instead of photos. Just a lot of things that will be satisfied by dry runs, mock-ups, whatever you want to call them, just like NASA does. Doing those and checklists will solve a host of these problems. To tell you the God's awful truth, I left the lens cap for the camera here on the bench at the house because I knew I didn't have a checklist and I didn't want to have the flight camera have no video. I assume it would have still had the overlay of the telemetry data, but it would have had no video. So I honestly left it right here on the bench at the house, took it off here and left it here because I knew there was no checklist that I would be running down to me. Okay, now it's time to take the camera lens off. I will have those next time, I hope. I'm just afraid I'm going to go out and fly again without any extra stuff just because I want to so badly. But I'm going to try to hold myself down and develop all those things up so that I have much better luck. Not that yesterday was bad or anything. So there's just a little overview of everything that was a problem yesterday. So now I need to start taking some of those, the raw 4K video, and overlaying on that, synchronized by time, the OSD data, and also the ground station data, because I also saw in the ground station some of the speed call-outs that were coming out of the speakers were not exactly what I was seeing on the screen. It seemed like the airspeed sensor wasn't being reported well in the ground station, but it was in the OSD data. I don't see how that's possible. That data is coming from the same source. I don't see how it can be proper in the OSD and then not proper on the ground station, because the ground station's just receiving the same information. So there's a lot to go through again this weekend. Pam is working today and tomorrow. So Saturday and Sunday's probably not going to be flying for me, because we're going to be under heavy winds and rains again, like the tornadoes and through Kentucky last weekend, which was just terrible. I hope they don't get hit again today, tomorrow. It'll be past them and over to our area by Saturday, through by Saturday, but I still don't think Sunday will be good. And you can see also that flying field, if there's too much rain there, it will be so muddy. It was sort of muddy yesterday, but I was able to get the car down in there and park where it wasn't a problem. I don't want to make ruts. I don't want to do anything to upset the sod company to cause me not to be able to fly there. It's just such a good place to fly, especially if I get over where there's better sod for landing. I swear, it's like six inches deep. It is just the best carpet, and they mow it every day so that the sod develops root structure rather than growth above the ground, so that when they sell it, it's got a lot of energy and just a humongous root structure, so it can survive transit wherever it's going, get laid down, get wetted, and then there's enough energy and stuff in the root structure to let the grass above ground start growing up without it dying off on them. People don't want to buy a bunch of expensive sod and have it all turn brown on them. So the place is just really, really, really killer to fly at, and I don't want to even make ruts driving down in there and have the sod company telling me, fly someplace else. All right. Thank you, guys.